Hey everybody, we are back for the third part of our who knows how many part series of Supreme Court case of review for the Regents. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but they're totally like radical, like awesome, like amazing for thematic and DBQ essays. They're also Larry and Tony the Tiger approved. Larry would never lie, right, Larry? Right? Right? Oh, yeah. No, I know. Yeah, I know, Larry. Oh, you're so funny. All right. So enough joking here with Larry. He's a busy man. Or pencil. Just want to mention again, go to quizlet.com/Mrs. Clemens. Remember that you want to take it off of both sides. Remember that you can look at all the definitions. Remember that you can play games. And remember you can leave me comments. Oh, Quizlet, you're wonderful. Not as good as Larry, but still wonderful. All right, so our last time we mentioned Scott versus Sanford, Plessy versus Ferguson, Koremitsu versus the United States, Brown versus Board of Education, Heart of Atlanta Motel versus the United States, and University of California versus Bach. Don't you love it that even on recordings I can't talk? Just like class, it's like I'm there with you right now, making dumb jokes and not being able to talk right. It's amazing. All right, I'm not going to go through these again because you watched the previous video and obviously you will be bored by me talking again about how you can definitely talk about Scott versus Sanford, link it with the 14th Amendment, how you can link Plessy with the Jim Crow laws and its reversal with Brown, and how you can link the Heart of Atlanta Motel with the Civil Rights Act of 1964. You could talk about the evolution and devolution of affirmative action with the University of California versus Bach, and of course, you all remember how you can link Koremitsu not only with civil rights for minorities, but you can also link it in terms of previous wars when civil liberties have been restricted. So for example, the Civil War with suspension of the writs of habeas corpus, or the World War I with the Sedition Acts and Shank versus the United States. I don't need to say all that again, right? Okay, good. All right, so we have another essay topic. Why? Because I love essays. I love them more than life itself, all right? If Larry's going to help me write them, of course they're amazing. So this is taking from another recent Regents, and so the task for here is identify one group from your study of United States history. Here, what we have to do for that group is we have to use two historical examples to show how the group has been not denied the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, I swear to God, I will come and I will find you if you can't tell me what document that's from. How about this? Let's have a little multiple choice. I'm assuming that you're saying this, watching this in a public place, so it'll be awesome when you yell out the answer. Okay, choice A. It's from the Albany Plan of Union. It's such a great plan. It's from, let's see, the Constitution, one of our favorite governments that we have. It's the one we have right now. The Articles of Confederation, yes, they were great. They were short-lived. They were horrible. Or the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Oh my gosh, that's right. It's the Declaration of Independence. Oh my God, you better know that. All right, next. So you have to do two historical examples of how they were deprived the rights of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The next thing you have to do is identify and discuss two efforts that have been made to help the group attain that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So you're going to say, oh yeah, you know, this is one of the things that has happened to them, and these are, you know, actually you're going to say two things, then you're going to talk about two efforts. They can be government efforts, they can be individual efforts, they could be groups, anything that is an effort, and then evaluate the extent to which the group has achieved equality today. Now here's the deal with that. You can say that they are totally not equal. You could say that they're completely and 100% equal. As long as, or you can ride the fence if you want to, as long as you have facts to back it up, this third bullet, or fourth, because I'm learning my counting, is the best. Because as long as you have facts to back it up, you can say whatever you want. Okay? Okay. All right. So I went a little bit crazy with this. So first off, you only had to do two. I like three. And I'm a show-off. We know this about me. All right, so I did three, and then I put in extra stuff otherwise. I'm just a nerd who's trying to outdo myself. I'm trying to look good in front of you. I can't help myself. All right. So here's an instance where a group was deprived their right of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, segregation. So one effort that was made was Brown versus Board of Education. Now, was this a person that made this? Well, actually, to an extent, it's a bunch of people, but yes, there are individual people involved. Goes to the Supreme Court, says segregation in schools is unconstitutional. A second effort is the Montgomery bus boycott, where they protest against racial segregation on buses. Obviously, here with Brown, you're going to talk about more than just this, but I'm trying to make this fit in 10 minutes. Montgomery bus boycott, obviously, you're going to talk about Rosa Parks, you're going to talk about Martin Luther King, you're going to talk about civil disobedience, all those great things. You're going to talk about what boycotting actually means, why they hope that they're going to actually be successful with that. And then if you want to, for achieving equality, you can mention the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which said that segregation in any public place, including a school, which was ruled over here, is unconstitutional. So yeah, you could say, yep, they achieved equality. Is it true? But you can argue it right here with this. Then we have college and job equality. You could talk about affirmative action. And what I did was I copied and pasted a fancy schmancy definition. Policies that take factors including race, color, religion, sex, or national origin into consideration in order to benefit an underrepresented group. In this case, we could be talking about minorities. We could also talk about women. We could talk about people with disabilities in areas of employment, education, and business. Now, we're going to talk more education because of the Supreme Court case we want to use. And so we can say, another effort that was made was the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that outlawed major forms of discrimination against minorities and women and ended the unequal application of voter registration requirements and racial segregation in schools and at the workplace. All right, so now we've got education, schools, sounded good. And then we have the University of California versus Bach. Which says affirmative action is allowed in college admissions. Now, we talked about this in class, how there's controversy, how it started with quotas, now it's more of a point system, how even now there are cases that are making their way up, and could possibly end up at the Supreme Court again. So you could talk about that and say how there's continuing controversy. So this is sort of, we're saying, yes, achieved equality. Whether or not it's right or not, or accurate or portrays your actual life, we've got our facts right here. Here we're kind of fence sitting, right? We're saying, in some cases yes, in some cases no, but there's still controversy. Then our next one is, and I just love this case, and I know I didn't talk about it before, but I love it. I talked about it in class, but I didn't talk about it before in the PowerPoint. Marriage equality. And you could talk about the 14th Amendment, which, remember, we have 3 amendments we have to memorize for the Regents. The 13th, ending slavery. 14th, granting citizen rights for all Americans. And the 15th Amendment, which granted the right to vote for all men. I love this case, and it's apt that it's named Loving. But this case we talked about in class happened in 1969, that basically these guys are able to get the Virginia laws struck down that said that interracial marriage was not allowed. And the Supreme Court rules in this, no way, it's unconstitutional. You should be allowed to marry people from whatever race you want. Now, this is a great one to kind of pull into current events. It's led other groups to seek that same equality, and that kind of makes sense. You could talk about gay marriage, you could talk about whatever, and you can actually mention, hey, in New York State, gay marriage has been legalized, whereas other states it hasn't. It's still a national sort of thing where they're talking about the Marriage Equality Act, and they're talking about all these different things. So these are some great cases and great facts, like the Montgomery bus boycott, the Civil Rights Act, the 14th Amendment, affirmative action to bring in. I swear to God, I love Loving. All right, well, that is all for this little segment. One more segment. All right, see y'all later.